Hi, this is Stephen Whitfield, drilling contractor, here at the 2022 IADC Advanced Rig Technology Conference in Austin, Texas. With me right now is Barry Smitherman, Chairman and President of the Texas Geothermal Energy Alliance. Mr. Smitherman just joined a panel discussion to talk about geothermal energy, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here today. Barry, thank you so much for joining me.
Sure, good to be here, Stephen.
So first question I have to ask is, what is the Texas Geothermal Energy Alliance? What do you guys do?
Well, we are a relatively new trade organization comprised of about 24 companies, from the biggest oil and gas companies in the world to small 2 or 3 person geothermal startups, kind of everybody in between, to bring public awareness and education and advocacy for the geothermal industry in Texas.
So it's interesting. You hear so much about geothermal now in the drilling world. It's what everybody wants to talk about in terms of low carbon solutions. You hear about it a lot in the Western U.S. In Texas, it's something that you hear about too. What makes Texas such an appealing location for geothermal development?
Well, a couple of things. One, we have the resource. We know that we have geothermal resources stretching from the Texas-Mexico border all the way into East Texas. So that's number one. Number two, we need the power. As we've seen a couple of times over the last 2 years, including Winter Storm Uri, unfortunately, we ran out of power during that winter event. This past summer, there were a couple of days when we had to conserve power, so we need the additional power from geothermal. And the last thing is, as we have great growth in this market, and so the opportunity to put a low carbon solution on the grid that is dispatchable and reliable is a great fit for Texas.
What value does the oil and gas industry, particularly drilling, have in scaling geothermal development?
Yeah, tremendous. We punched over 1 million holes here in the ground looking for oil and gas in Texas. So we have a rich body of data that tells us what the world looks like underground. That's really important for geothermal. And we have the skill set from the oil and gas industry to help with drilling these wells and perfecting the ability to run hot water up through the heating element of the earth, bring it up, and turn it into steam and make electricity.
What would you say are some of the challenges to seeing the industry scale even bigger? You know, if geothermal is very popular, it's going to have to compete with some of the other low carbon solutions. So what are some of the challenges?
Yeah, historically it's been too expensive. And so it has been unable to compete with these other resources like cheap natural gas, which we once had, but it's more expensive now, as well as wind and solar. But as we've seen, because of a variety of reasons, including the war in Ukraine, the price of natural gas has gone up, so that makes electricity more expensive. And while wind and solar are great, the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. So geothermal has an opportunity to be that low carbon solution that may be able to compete for price in today's market.
Well, Barry, thanks again for giving us a little info on geothermal in Texas and geothermal development. It's going to be something that we'll be looking forward to seeing how that progresses in the near and long-term future. So thanks again.
Good to be with you.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.